What's up, YouTube? Get ready. 5 weeks away from my big move to Vietnam. Coming up now. What's going on, YouTube? 5 weeks away from my big move. I'm out here walking in my hometown, Charlotte, North Carolina, in the historic Myers Park neighborhood. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. The temperature is 84 degrees. It's about 11 a.m. and I'm enjoying this breeze. I got some new equipment. I've got this DJI microphone with like a little wind blocker. Thank you, Tylene, my friend. Look at these beautiful homes here. Oh, how do I turn this thing around? I thought I figured out how to turn the camera around, but I didn't. Dang it. Okay, it's got this. Why won't this? Oh, it's focused just on my face. Now I don't know how to unlock that. Anyway, look at these beautiful homes. Well, anyway, so yeah, 5 weeks out. Today I'm going to upload some documents. I found a visa service here in the United States that specializes in legalizing and authenticating documents in Vietnam. So I'm going to send those off today. I think I'm going to try to become an English teacher, at least part-time, while I do my travel service, continue to build that business. These beautiful homes. I was kind of inspired when I was there because there's a cafe I went to one night and they said English night for Vietnamese learners. And I went in there and met probably, it was 10 to 15 people, and they were at a very basic level of English. And they welcomed me in. Once they noticed I was a foreigner, of course, and then I opened my mouth and they were like, "Oh, where are you from?" They really didn't recognize the American accent, so they knew I was not British or Australian or from New Zealand. So I told them I was an American, and we started chatting. So I would like to do a little volunteer work to help out while I'm there, as well as maybe do some part-time work of teaching English. So I have to take this course, get it legalized and authenticated, and some other documents, because right now when I enter Vietnam, I'm going to be on a tourist visa, which is, I think this in 2024 they extended to 90 days. Now, which is good, but in order to continuously be in Vietnam and to be compliant, I have to try to get a work visa or a temporary residence card. So there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of bureaucracy I have to do here, and then especially when I get there. So I'm getting that process hopefully completed before I arrive in Saigon. Another thing with the tourist visa, which is going to be a pain, it is easy once you know how to do it. It's an e-visa. However, in order to renew, you have to leave Vietnam. There's a lot of visa services that I've researched in Vietnam, in Saigon, that will help you. They have buses that leave basically daily that'll take you across the border to Cambodia. But I don't want to do that every 90 days. I mean, I love to travel, but that's going to get old. So hopefully I'll be able to travel when I want and not out of necessity. I've already kind of found an app that will count my country days, knowing when I need to leave. I'll probably leave 3 or 4 days early because anything can happen. Get a flight canceled, and then you're stuck because you don't want to get in trouble with the government by overstaying your visa. And I'm paranoid about stuff like that, so I want to be compliant when I'm there. So what happens, you leave the country, you apply for the e-visa out of the country. People are going to say you can use a VPN. You can't. I mean, even if you could, I'm not going through all that. I just don't want to be caught defrauding the government some kind of way. So I'm going to leave the country. I think my first trip is going to be to Bali. And I will try to do a better job of, creating content on my travel and everything. So that's kind of where I am in the process. I'm kind of excited about teaching English. Hopefully I can do some one-on-one teaching. I don't know how well I'll do in a classroom, but we'll see. These homes are beautiful. Man, it's a great day in Charlotte. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. Gonna head to Freedom Park. And that's kind of sparking another little something I want to talk about. I've had some very well-meaning friends, acquaintances, associates, sometimes even comments on social media. Mostly are positive, and I think the people, what I'm about to say, are also trying to be encouraging and positive. But they have what's the word I'm looking for? They're ignorant when it comes to other countries because they've only been in the United States, and especially about Vietnam. Now, if you're of a certain age, you just have a certain viewpoint of Vietnam and what it's about and what it's like. First thing that comes out of their mouth is communism, which is true. It's a communist country. You will walk around and you'll see the Vietnamese flag. You also see the hammer and the sickle in a lot of places. Right across the street. I've had this conversation here recently. Somebody said, "What are you going to do if you got bullets in your pocket?" I was like, "Bullets in my pocket? What are you talking about? Why would I have bullets in my pocket in Vietnam?" Like this scenario that this person presented to me was just weird. And then they said, what if you want to protest the government? I'm not a Vietnamese citizen. I'm a guest in their country. I don't foresee myself participating in protesting the Vietnamese government anytime soon. If I have anything to say, I'll probably take it up with the U.S. Embassy. I don't know, but that's the first thing out of his mouth, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna purchase a firearm or even try to take one with me, so I don't understand why you brought that up. But it made me think about freedom and the American definition of freedom as compared to other countries. So I wanted to say to him, these guys are using the blower. Let me go the other way. I wanted to say to him, I also had the freedom of not being gunned down at random in Vietnam. Not just in Vietnam, in other countries I visited. I won't have to worry about the harassment of the police as often as we put up with here. And I'm not just talking about African Americans, I'm talking about or people of color, I'm talking about there's police everywhere in this country. And in some places, it's probably necessary, but I was in Saigon and it was a city of over 10 million people. And I saw maybe a handful of police, some armed, some not, most not armed. So there's just differences in the countries. I'm not saying Vietnam's perfect because it is not perfect. I'm sure as a foreigner, there are going to be certain things that I'm not going to enjoy. I know I'll be targeted if I'm on a motorbike, and I think there's stories of them wanting to get possibly some coffee money if they pull you over. because they think you're going to be more than likely not legal with driving, which a lot of expats over there do. They're not legal. So I understand why they may target foreigners. But it's just weird, some of the comments that I get that are meant to be encouraging and everything. But if you want to own guns here in this country, own them, whatever. That's just not my thing. I'm not anti-gun. I am anti-crazy gun laws that can allow just anybody to get a gun that can shoot up classrooms or things like that. But that's a freedom that I will have in Vietnam. I won't have to worry about that type of thing. So take that for what you want. Also, healthcare is another concern. I'm 47 now, and I don't have a lot of money saved. Just a quick story. I got in a little minor accident, maybe about 6-7 years ago, but it did require me to go to the hospital. Hospital was a mile away. It cost me $1,200 just for the ride. Just for the ride. Now, if you have never lived outside of this country, if you don't have friends that live in other countries, you think that's normal. But it's not. It shouldn't be that way at all. There's an expat in Vietnam, I just saw his interview, who had cancer, stage 2 cancer. Just make this brief. Throat cancer. His family encouraged him to come back. He's from America. Come back and have it taken care of. He went to an oncologist in Vietnam. I think it was 5 weeks or maybe 5 months of radiation, and I think 1 week of chemo, 5 rounds of chemo. I don't know. He had to do that once a week. Something like that. So more than 5 rounds. Anyway, it was $3,100 total. And he's totally fine. $3,100 total. If you're an American, just start doing the math, what you think it would cost, even with insurance. So, I'll have the freedom of not going broke and going bankrupt if I get a serious illness. So just little things like that kind of perked my ears up when I started researching where I'm going to live. There was other countries on the list too, but something about Vietnam gripped me, and it didn't let me go. I knew from the minute I landed that I felt at home. In fact, I still feel at home. Speaking of homes, hold on, I'm a little ADD. Look at this place. Amazing. Look at this beautiful home too. I miss my neighborhood. Got the American flag out. We just had the 4th, so people still have their flags out. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trashing America. There's some great things here that I wish Vietnam would adopt. There's some things that I just recently came back from basically traveling for 3 months, and I wanted to kiss the ground when I got back here because there are some major differences in different countries too. For example, in Vietnam, they don't respect lines. I'm a big stickler for lines and not disrespecting someone else. But I quickly had to get used to the culture, or you will never get to your destination. And our airports are a little more organized. You can be in an airport lounge, for example, and your flight leaves at 2 p.m. or the boarding starts at 2 p.m. I've been on a couple flights and I learned my lesson after the second time. They will start boarding. If the plane is ready at 1:40, 1:45, whatever, they will start boarding. And you're walking up like, oh, I'm 10 minutes early, and they're already boarding. And they may say, they'll call out how they want you to board, but it doesn't work out that way. You just have to get in line. I don't care if you're in business class or the cheapest fare. These people are in line, it is what it is. So you can't change how they do things to conform to what you're used to. You have to get on board, literally get on board, but you have to adapt. It's a little frustrating at first, but once you understand it, it's like, okay, it is what it is. They're starting to board, if they're going to board the plane early, get there a little earlier. Little stuff like that. But I'm sure there's going to be many, many more things that I can tell you once I actually am living there daily. 8 weeks is really not enough. I spent actually a little more than 8 weeks. I think I spent 10 weeks total, 4 the first time and close to 7 last time. One thing that I do know, I got frustrated with there. It was really hot one evening, and it's always hot, but it was just really hot. And I was in this little neighborhood where I was staying, and I just wanted to walk and go grab something to eat. And it can be difficult just leaving your door and walking because there's motorbikes everywhere. There's people everywhere. And if there's not motorbikes, if there's any space left, there's going to be people eating. So you're constantly just kind of dipping in and out of traffic. So I got a little frustrated that day. But, you know, not everything's going to be like this. And I just have to get used to that. So, but anyway, that's really all I have to say today. It's just my little update for the week. I know people are going to be mad at me about what I said about how I fall on certain issues. I really don't care. I'm just telling you, I don't really care where you fall on those issues. I mean, if you want to own guns, and I doubt that anybody's for the mass murder and the mass killings that happen here. But, you know, if you want to order, if you're a responsible gun owner, good for you. I don't know anybody who would really argue that our healthcare system is good. I mean, we have good doctors and good care, but as far as how much it costs, it's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm not going to make this channel about politics and social issues, but I'm just talking about some of the issues that came up in the comments and some of the issues that people were talking about when it came to telling me what to expect and why I'm doing this and why I'm doing that. So I'm going to end this here. Oh, there's a Cybertruck. That house, cool. So anyway, have a good day. Signing off. I will do an update next week, and I will be 1 month away, 4 weeks out. Peace.